You never count me down, right?
I have one job.
That was a great take. You told me the camera wasn't on.
You said hello.
But it was going to be great. You're messing with my mojo, Jeremiah.
Can I count you down or do you just want to go?
Do you always count me down? No, but you do random things. You're like 3, 5.
Orange.
You're not hiking the ball to me. We're shooting an episode.
All right, ready?
Hike.
Set. Hike.
Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Do you want me to have a great episode?
No, I hope the episode has a great you.
As you wish. Hello, Adventure. So I remember sitting just right here and us filming our first episode of the 100-Day Adventure. And as I was explaining that a like is really like a high five and leaving a comment is like having a conversation, I just said people fall in love over conversations. And then I realized, well, wait, that's actually really, really true. I remember when I fell in love over a conversation. And it was my first date with Kim. And we were at Busch Gardens. And we were riding roller coasters all day, which was horrible because I don't like roller coasters. And I thought she wouldn't like roller coasters. So I would be set. And all we did all day was ride roller coasters. So on the way home, we had an hour-and-a-half drive. And on that hour-and-a-half drive, it seemed like minutes because we started a conversation. And we started a conversation that now has been going on for over 20 years. See, people will fall in love over a conversation. You see, people don't always like to be the initiator of conversation, but I'll tell you that your adventure sits right outside your comfort zone. We like to be comfortable. We like to have our preferences. We want comfort and convenience, and we care about cost, but all of those things are not what's going to lead to your greatest adventures. What's going to lead to your greatest adventures is outside your comfort zone. I think people would be really surprised to find out that I'm actually really shy. It's okay for me to go and talk to 15,000 people at one time. I'm not nervous about that. But the way that most people feel about public speaking is actually how I feel about of going and talking to somebody for the first time. I mean, once I get to know you, then it's great. But that first conversation, for some reason, just makes me really nervous. See, most people start to value their own comfort over adventure. And when you do that, the problem is that really you stop living and you're just kind of playing things out. See, I love this quote from Mark Twain. It said this, is that most men die at 27. We just bury them at 72. And that's what happens when you start to value your comfort over adventure. And so I think you need to do things to start to get out of your comfort zone. I know for me, this has been huge and it's led to some really great things. I've had to do some things on purpose to get out of my comfort zone. So I think what happens even like with food is I realized one day, man, I just kind of order the same thing all the time because like I like it, it's safe, I don't have to try anything, I don't have to worry about it. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm gonna take the next year. And anytime I go out to eat, I'm just gonna tell the person, surprise me. And that sounded really weird to do, and I was nervous at first, but something amazing happened. I realized a couple things. First of all, I'm 4 hours away from another meal. How bad is it really gonna be? I mean, we spend so much time worrying about things that never actually happen, and the worst case scenario isn't really that bad of a worst case. Instead of this transactional, that's not really a conversation, it's just, I want this, and do you want that with it, back and forth. I found out some amazing things. Well, first of all, like they eat there all the time, so they know what's probably good and what's not good. And what I found is that when you have a conversation, guess what they do? They always go back and they talk to a chef and they say, hey, this crazy guy said, surprise me. And they told the other waiters, and now they're having conversations from my conversation. I've actually had the chef come out before and say, hey, I prepared this special for you. You see, what I did is I incited adventure without ever knowing about it. And you know what now? There is some food that I would have never tried, but I tried it and turns out I like it. And so I try new things, and outside of my comfort zone, this whole new world opened up for me. And that waiter or waitress, they might have 15, 20 tables that night, but it was our conversation that they remember when they go home. And in that conversation, it could lead to meeting your next best friend or coming up with your next idea. Live outside of your comfort zone. Initiate that conversation, as scary as it could be. It's also important to know is to not view this from the simple 3 minutes that it'll take to maybe have a quick conversation. That conversation could actually lead to many other things, that you might gain some knowledge you didn't know, or it might give an opportunity you didn't know about. I know for me, there's a lot of times we say that something is a coincidence, but that coincidence would have never happened if we didn't have a conversation about it. The adventure team and I, we were at Disney recently. And so we went up and I was getting ice cream again for everybody for like the 4th time in the day. And we went up and it was right behind like a dance party. And so I asked the lady, I said, this must be the best spot in the entire park, that you get to work inside of a dance party and give people ice cream. What better job is that? Normally, everybody else before me and after me are like, I just want this, give me that, scan this, and they move on. But that person is on an adventure. They just maybe not know it yet by saying like, I really am interested. Like, hey, tell me some of the funniest things that have happened. And so I started asking that person just some questions about them and about that day. And we had a really great short conversation. But out of that, she said, hey, by the way, go over there and you get to see this. And she started giving me some advice. She ended up giving me free ice cream, actually. I'm just saying Mickey doesn't give you free ice cream. You see, you never know where a conversation will lead. You don't know that person isn't just handing you something through a drive-through. There is a whole world that they have this adventure, and we could be a part of unlocking that. You see, that one conversation could send ripples throughout time. So taking that extra 5 seconds, it doesn't take a long time. And it's simply by asking a question. See, I have found that asking questions is an art form, and it's something that you need to practice. For me, I try to find out what the right questions are. I've had clients hire me before and later they would say, hey, you know why I hired you? And I say, well, why? Because you asked the right questions. Simply asking people, hey, tell me about your story, or what is the weirdest question somebody's asked you here at Disney, which by the way is, what time is the 3 o'clock parade? Turns out it's at 3 o'clock. So that is where you can do is you have a conversation with somebody and you can spark some incredible things. And those principles apply not just face-to-face, but it also applies online. You see, liking something, giving somebody a hug or a high five, that's super important to know that you care. But they won't fall in love with you until you have a conversation. You know what? Liking something takes a couple seconds. It really only takes a few more seconds to leave a thoughtful comment. You'll never know that thoughtful comment could lead to some great things. In fact, what you find in our episodes about how a lot of these algorithms work is conversations are weighted really, really heavy. So ask the right questions, reach out and leave comments. And you know what? I would much rather you leave 10 comments than 100 likes. It will do a lot more for you. Remember, you don't know if today is the day that you meet your next best friend for the first time. This might be the day that you fall in love or fall in love again. This could be the day that leads to your greatest adventure. And your adventure begins right now.